Good day, chaps. Once again, it is indeed I, Professor Redwood, here to discuss the latest chapter of the Pokémon Bestiary. Last time, we explored North Kanto, the region in the northeast of Kanto. Now, let's head south to discuss the coastal regions and the Pokémon within. This episode will be the last exploration of the Kanto region, so naturally, after this, we will explore Johto to the west. How exciting! South of Lavender Town is an intricate boardwalk known as the Silent Bridge. It leads towards the Vermilion City to the west and Fuchsia to the south on the coastal route. The Silent Bridge is known as such due to the amount of fishing that is done here nearby, a humble mandate for the passerby to be quiet as to not startle the fish. In the sea there are some unusual Pokémon like Magikarp and Horsey, as well as Slowpoke and Snorlax. The Slowpoke line. Slowpoke evolve into either Slowbro or Slowking. There are regional variants that will be discussed later on. They are all water psychic type and belong to the Monster and Water 1 egg groups. Slowbro has a mega evolution. Slowpoke are odd Pokémon. They have a very short memory span, driven by their own instincts alone. Though we humans are herbivorous, Slowpoke's tails are sold as a delicacy. It's said that if they are eaten, they can give you sexual powers. From experience, I can tell you this is incorrect. Slowbro are Slowpoke who have formed a symbiosis with Shelder. These Shelder evolve with the Slowpoke into a different form, and the new Shelder feed on Slowbro's excrement. In its mega form, the Shelder grows to envelop Slowbro like a suit. Slowking, on the other hand, evolve when Shelder connect to its mind. The Shelder is subsumed, and the Slowking's mental powers grow. They also grow a neck frill. Slowking are intelligent enough to speak with humans. Though wise, they do lack intelligence. Route 11 leads towards Vermilion City and Fuchsia City by way of Digltt's Cave. In it reside some common species, as well as the rarer Drowsy line. Drowsy evolve into Hypno. They are all psychic type and belong to the human-like egg group. Drowsy are common near urban areas, using their proboscis to eat fruits. They have an affinity for dreams, and when one sleeps near one, they do not dream at all. Hypno are commonly found cavorting with Kadabra in the wild. Instead of psychic ability, they use tools to put people and Pokémon to sleep, most commonly their little pendulums. In the last chapter, we discussed Digltt's Cave in brief, so let's dive in earnest this time. The cave is the natural habitat of the Pokémon Diglett, and its intertwining tunnels naturally connect Route 11 to Vermilion City. It's a handy tunnel through the hilly areas, and Diglett doesn't seem to mind its use by humans. The Dugtrio line. Diglett evolve into Dugtrio. They both have Alolan forms, but their Cantonian forms are ground type and belong to the Field Egg group. Diglett remain underground and have poor eyesight. They feed on tree roots and dislike sunlight, as they are very sensitive to heat and UV rays. They are often used on farms to till soil and fertilize it, but must be kept away from growing plants. Their underside is rarely seen, but they have stubby feet and clawed paws. Dugtrio are curious. Specifically, Dugtrio refers to a single member of the Dugtrio group, but Dugtrio always travel in threes. Dugtrio are longer and heavier than Diglett, but they are three distinct entities who act as one. They can travel very far underground, the longest recorded distance being 60 miles. Vermilion City, located on the coast of the Vermilion Bay, is a port city that does trade with Kanto as well as other regions. It's home to the Thunder Badge and the Vermilion Port. The harbor has long been a staple of the area. South of the Silence Bridge are routes 13, 14, and 15, which run along the coast of the Vermilion Bay into the Fuchsia Peninsula, also known as the Fuchsia Coast Highway. It's also a lovely place for grass and water types, as the locale gets a lot of sun. It's home to the usuals, Pidgey, Oddish, Bellsprout, and uniquely, Farfetch'd. The Farfetch'd line. Farfetch'd do not evolve into anything except in Galar. Historically, it had an evolution known as Outlandish. They are normal flying type and belong to the flying and fielding groups. Farfetch'd use leeks and green onions to fight. They are not endangered, but they are in decline. They are fierce, but their environments have been encroached on by Arbok, such that their evolution Outlandish no longer appears. Outlandish developed mask-like facial markings and larger wings. Fuchsia City is a city many tourists flood to, due to its closeness to the coast and the Safari Zone. It's also home of the Soul Badge in the Pokémon League. The Safari Zone, the nature preserve to the north, is where many species reside. Once endangered, these species are often given a new place to roam. There are a great many species who live here, including some unique ones, such as Chansey, Rhyhorn, Tangela, Scyther, Pinsir, and Dratini. A full list of the unique species are below. The Tangela line. Tangela evolves into Tangrowth. They are both grass type and belong to the grass egg group. In the past, they had a different evolution line in Johto, a baby named Tangy and an evolution named Creepella. Tangela are round Pokémon, black with large eyes like Shelder, but they are surrounded by tentacles that are made of plant matter, like vines. They are rare, but this is normal for their species. They blend easily into their surroundings and are not susceptible to predators, as many vines that are eaten quickly grow back. Tangrowth are even more massive, gaining the prehensile use of their vines and are able to grip and grab things. They're friendly and docile, if somewhat slow-witted and less intelligent. They like the jungle, with heavy rainfall. In the past, Tangela evolved from Tangy, smaller-sized Tangela with one eye and fewer vines, and into Creepella, a form that possessed a grinning mouth. It's likely Tangela stopped evolving into this form due to redundance. Much like Lick King, Creepella was not particularly more effective than Tangela. The Executor line. Execute evolve into Executor. They are both grass psychic and belong to the grass egg group. Executor's alolan form will be discussed in the later chapter. Execute resemble eggs or seeds. All of them grow in groups. If you catch one, you'll likely catch the whole pack. This is due to their psychic link. Executor evolved from Execute, who burrow into the ground and grow like plants. They are massive trees with faces on the fruits. They like tropical areas, and while their heads are mistaken for fruits and coconuts, they can easily defend themselves. Its three heads are still discrete entities, who are all psychically linked. Tauros. Tauros is a normal type that belongs to the Field Egg group. This Pokémon is the male form of Miltank, who will be discussed in the Johto chapter. Tauros are found running across plains, their three tails used as whip-like defenses. It's heavy and strong, bashing head first into foes. Pinsir. Pinsir are bug type and belong to the bug group. They have a mega evolution and historically evolved into the extinct Pokémon Crushia. Pinsir have massive claws on its head that are strong and hard. They hang from trees and use the pincers to crush the shells of coconuts. Mega Pinsir gain wings in the flying type. In both forms, it spears prey like Pidgey before opening their claws to obliterate them. I would not recommend looking this up online. In the past, Crushia was an evolution of Pinsir, but it stopped evolving into Crushia due to Crushia lacking eyes. Scyther. Scyther evolve into Scizor. Scyther is a bug flying type, and Scizor is bug steel. They both belong to the bug egg group. Scizor has a mega evolution. Scyther are vicious and fearsome, a standout in the bug type. They have wings, but they can't fly apart from hovering. Their arms end in scythe-like appendages that they use to drive off foes. Despite their fearsome appearance, they are herbivorous, and their sides are used for defense only, making decent shields as well. Scizor gives up its sides for heavy claws that can cleanly cut anything. Their carapaces grow into mineral coatings. They're agile and skillful. Mega Scizor's claws grow into fearsome sawtooth pinches. Don't put your hands in these. Rhyperior line. Rhyhorn evolves into Rhydon into Rhyperia. They are all ground rock type and in the monster and field egg groups. Rhyhorn are vicious and travel in packs. They've driven Charmander's line nearly to extinction in the mountainous regions. They represent the Pyro's share of the Silver Mountains species. As such, the Silver Mountains are considered intraversable by land. Raiden are the bosses of Rhyhorn packs, and their horns grow into drills. They also develop to be bipedal. Rhyperior don't evolve in the wild and are much more docile than their counterparts. They use a device called a protector, which is sort of padded armor developed in Sinnoh. In their palms there are large holes which rocks can be shot from. They're used in the excavation industry, alongside Steelix. The Blissy line. Happiny evolves into Chansey, into Blissy. They're all normal type and belong to the fairy egg group. They're all female. Happiny is a baby Pokémon. It has a pouch where it keeps round stones and Pokémon eggs. It is used in the breeding industry as an incubator. Chansey also has a pouch for eggs. They're often seen in Pokémon centers assisting the nurses. They're helpful and kind. Blissy are larger forms of Chansey who grow tufts of fluffy hair. They serve the same function, but they are impressively massive and deceptively strong, being tough to knock over and defeat in battle. In the past, before domestication, they had a more distinct appearance, with a heart-shaped protrusion from the head. Kangaskhan. Kangaskhan are normal type and belong to the monster egg group. They have a mega evolution, and they are all female. They are somewhat unique Pokémon, and there are actually two Pokémon, Kangaskhan and Kangaskid. One might imagine that the Kangaskid in its pouch are its young or pre-evolution, but they are actually born with these Pokémon in their pouches. If you capture one or the other, they are both caught. Kangaskid and Kangaskhan have a psychic link, and if they stray far from one another, they perish. In its mega form, Kangaskid grows larger and actively fights with its counterpart. The Dotrio line. Doduo evolve into Dotrio. They are both normal flying type and belong to the flying egg group, even though their line can't fly. They used to evolve from the baby Pokémon Chictrio. Doduo have long legs that allow it to run across long distances. They migrate from north to south Kanto depending on the time of year. They have two heads that think independently but work together. Dotrio are similar, but they have three heads, the third in the middle being the leader in a sense. They are cooperative but are seen arguing on occasion. In the past, they evolved from Chictrio instead of Doduo, but Chictrio were much less adept than Doduo, so they stopped existing. The Dragonite Line. Dragonite evolved from Dragonair from Dratini. They are all dragon type and belong to the dragon and water one egg groups. Dratini are snake-like creatures with round eyes and adore people. They grow to be about 6 feet long. Dragonair are even more elegant, with its head fins growing into intricate fur patterns, as well as developing gems on its body and tail. They are regal and prized for the region. Dragonite are huge winged creatures, developing arms and legs and a yellow coloration. They are serene and majestic, and difficult to train. Their head whiskers indicate how long-lived they are, and they usually outgrow their trainers, passed down through generations. They are a spiritual symbol in the Kanto region. And finally, with time to spare, let's discuss the Cantonian Sea. The Cantonian Sea contains several locations, as well as a few water routes. Heading south from Fuchsia, we arrive at Route 19, which connects Route 20. This route contains the Seafoam Islands, a large undersea cave system accessible east of Cinnabar. On the water, there are some unique species such as Staryu, and in the caves there are others like seal. It's said Articuno lives deep in these islands too. The Starmie Line. Starmie evolved from Staryu. They are both water types, and Starmie gains the psychic type. They belong to the Water 3 egg group. Staryu lie on the seafloor, and it doesn't have a food source. Instead, the gem absorbs light and heat. They are largely inert, but are good partners. Starmie are much the same, but they gain another 5 limbs on their backs, as well as become purple. No one knows why. Possibly because no one cares. Seal Line. Seal evolve into Dugong. They are both water type, with Dugong obtaining the ice type. They belong to the Water 1 and Field Egg groups. Seal live in cavernous areas in the ocean. It's resistant to cold and heat, using its horn to headbutt foes. They love to eat fish Pokémon. Dugong are larger and longer, and they are better swimmers. They can shoot ice from their horns. To the west of the Seafoam Islands are Cinnabar Island. Cinnabar is home to the Pokémon Mansion, a Pokémon research lab. Sadly, this lab is unaffiliated with the Pokémon League, instead devoted to genetic research rather than preservation efforts or study. The island itself is a volcano from which geothermal power is drawn. The volcano was inert, but continued efforts by the Pokémon Mansion have led this to be tenuous. It is also the location of the volcano badge of the Pokémon League. North past Cinnabar is Route 21, which connects to Pallet Town, which is aptly where we began. To the south of Cinnabar and Seafoam are the final stop on the Kanto tour, the Sevi Islands, an archipelago of 9 islands, and are the home of many Kantonian species, as well as a few settlements. Due to its proximity to Johto, it also contains some species there which will be discussed in the next chapter. The One Island is home to yet another volcano, Mount Ember. The path to this volcano is known as Kindle Road. Here, fire types thrive, such as Vulpix and Magmar. Moltres is also said to live inside the volcano itself. The Magmar Line. Magby evolve into Magmar into Magmortar. They are all fire type and belong to the human-like egg group. Magby are small and cute, often found in hot areas. Though adorable, they are not recommended to keep as pets as they are dangerous and evolve into the more volatile Magmar. Magmar are taller and have flame tails like Charizard. They love volcanoes and the deep underground. Interestingly, they are called Boober in other regions. Magmortar doesn't evolve in the wild, only after exposure to the Magmarizer, an invention from Sinnoh. They have holes in their hands that shoot fireballs. They are used alongside Electivire in factories and power machinery that operate on heat, like steam-powered tools. The Vulpix Line. Vulpix evolve into Ninetales. They are fire type and belong to the Field Egg group. They have an Alolan form which will be discussed later. Vulpix are good pets. Their cuddles are warm. They are born with 1 tail and more grow over time. Once Vulpix grow their 9th tail, they evolve into Ninetales. Not the most creative name, but I did not choose it. I'm just reporting it. They are haughty and prideful. Do not touch their tails without permission. Lucky trainers sometimes get to lay their heads on their downy tails. It's said they can curse people, but this, as all curses are, is a myth. The Arcanine Line. Arcanine evolved from Growlithe. They are fire type and belong to the Field Egg group. Growlithe are loyal partners and common pets. They are fire type, but seldom shoot fire unless instructed, making them less volatile than some of the other of the same type. In the wild, they like eating bird Pokémon and even larger prey. Arcanine are large, with fluffy manes. They are obedient even more than other Pokémon, fierce and loyal. They are often used in law enforcement, but many have questioned the ethics and effectiveness of this. Arcanine are an emblem of Kanto's police force. Back in college, I would have said a cab. Now that I'm a fully fledged professor, I will say it again. 2 Island is the home of Cape Brink, and 3 Island to the east, the home of the Berry Forest. No undiscussed Pokémon live here. 4 Island is home of the Icefall Cave. Inside are Pokémon adapted to cold like Seal and Slowpoke, as well as Jinx. Relocation efforts are underway to relocate Jinx, as the climate in the Icefall Caves are warming too much for them. The Jinx Line. Smoochum evolve into Jinx, and both are Ice-type as well as belonging to the human-like egg group. They are all female. Smoochum is cute and small and loves giving kisses. Its kisses are chilly but very pleasant. They kiss one another to communicate. They love cold areas and are used in hot regions as air conditioners. Jinx are larger and their hair grows more. Their fur is purple and red and it flows into a dress shape. Many seem split on whether they think Jinx is cute or strange. As for me, I think Jinx is quite lovely. My son Oak says she has the DSLs, which I assume stands for Distinctly Shaped Lips. 5 Island is home to the crime syndicate Team Rocket. Unfortunately, this means exploration of the Lost Cave is impossible. 6 Island is home to the Altering Cave, which will be further discussed later on, hopefully. The Dotted Hole, a mysterious ruin, and of course Ruin Valley, a large craggy area with Spearow, Psyduck, Natu, and Wooper. 7 Island is home to more natural ruins, and while they are interesting, they feature no undiscussed Pokémon. The final 2 islands, Naval Rock and Birth Island, which are small islands that are said to be home to legendary Pokémon. Finally, I would like to discuss a few Pokémon that have no specific natural habitat, but call Kanto home, regardless. The Wheezing line. Coughing evolve into Wheezing, who have a Galarian form to be discussed later. They're both poison type and belong to the amorphous egg. Coughing are repulsive floating coagulations of solid waste to expel certain gases. You do the math. They're similar to Grimer in that they're horrid, but not malevolent. Wheezing are clumps of several coughing who combine. They are used in waste disposal. The Hitmon line. So-called Hitmon line comes from a Pokémon called Tyrogue. It has 3 options for evolution: Hitmonchan, Hitmonlee, and Hitmontop. They all belong to the human-like egg group, and they're all male. Tyrogue is a small Pokémon, roughly the build of Machop, with different head frills. They're very strong, being fighting type, but are more disciplined than Machop. Hitmonchan are strong boxers with red fists. They're more defensive and stalwart, and are capable of many types of elemental punches. Hitmonlee, sometimes called the Kicking Fiend, is capable of stretching its legs like springs to attack. It's the favorite of the 3 Hitmons. Hitmontop is the strangest of the 3, preferring to stand on its head and spin, much like a top. It uses its arms and legs to fight like this, as well as its tail. It's difficult to fight for this reason. The Mr. Mime line. Mr. Mime evolves from Mime Jr. It has a Galarian version and a Galarian evolution. Discussed later on... They're psychic fairy and belong to the human-like egg group. Mime Jr. is a cute tyke with a button nose that loves to entertain with theatrics. Mr. Mime is... Mr. Mime... Mr. Mime... Mr. Mime is, Alright, hold on. This isn't a Pokémon. This is not a Pokémon. This is a man. He is a fellow. Mr. Mime is a person. Look at him. He has hands. He has a big smile. He can't speak, but he can understand words. Come now. He clearly has high functioning cognition at the human level. He can write. He can read. We do not cast the mute out of society into Pokéballs. So why do we for Mr. Mime? I tell you, he's a fellow. He's a man. I've seen them drive. Bloody hell, I've seen them get married. Let Mr. Mime vote. Mr. Mime should have rights, all right? My apologies. And with that is Kanto, the species that naturally occupies borders. The Pokémon listed here are not exclusive to Kanto, of course, but they are indeed its native population. The next chapter of this tome will be, of course, devoted to Kanto's neighbor to the west, Johto. It is with a heavy heart that my musings on my own home come to an end. I've studied this place for what feels like an eternity, and passing the torch to my son has been both the hardest thing in my life and the most profoundly happy. Oak, if you ever bother to crack open Dad's old books, then just know this, what I'm too cowardly to say to your face, brave enough only to utter in the written word. You mean the world to me. Kanto is our home, and I'm so proud to have brought you into it. I'll see you next time.